Hey, what up? It's Brad with Home Love Construction. Welcome to another episode of the Critical Path podcast. I have a friend of mine with me in the studio today, Mr. Derek Vickers. So, man, I have this bad habit of I introduce people incorrectly. So why don't you tell people who you are and what you do? He invests in mobile homes. I'm pretty excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so Derek Vickers. I am the CEO and founder of Victory Capital. We own and operate mobile home parks, trailer parks. And we do this in the great state of Florida and some other places here in the Southeast. But
you're outside of Florida as well?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah. But mainly we're in Florida.
Yeah.
And we'll take I know everyone's probably seen it, your quintessential trailer park.
Yeah.
In your community. You probably have seen that before. So we take those communities and, go in and inject life into those.
Yeah.
And bring them back into a clean, safe, affordable community.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very, wow. You know what's funny, man? I hadn't really considered, so I'm aware that there's a lot of profit to be made in what you do. That's a thing that's been real to me for a while, but I didn't realize, I had never actually sat down and considered, okay, what's the actual benefit to the community or to the people that live there of actually doing that. But you made a great point on the actual operation of that affects 100, 200, 300 people. What's the biggest park that you operate?
So it's 300 units.
300
is the biggest one, but the others are in between. The average is probably about 50 units.
Yeah. But you're still affecting all those families with how well or poorly run it is. So you'll take one that's just oh my God, what the hell are they doing? And then actually, so how, let's go back into the beginning. How did you start doing this?
Yeah. So I was in the insurance business.
Yeah.
I moved to Florida when I was, I guess it was 2012.
Yeah.
And I had about $300 in my pocket. It was from a tax return.
Yeah. So and 2012, how old were you?
I was 24.
24. Okay.
24. Yeah. I was partying a lot in Virginia. I needed a change of environment.
Yeah.
I at least knew that.
Yeah.
And so I came to Florida, had the tax return, and I'm like, I'm not going to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I was looking online. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go sell insurance. Door to door, commission only, knock on business owners' doors. It was rough.
Yeah.
I got my ass kicked for a long time. It was tough. And I made 13 grand my first year. I don't know how.
For the first year?
For the first year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how.
Hey, Home Love salespeople, listen up. This is your future. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I did that and then started after struggling for 2 years in that. And I actually started studying sales. Right. And I came across Grant Cardone's sales material and his sales technology. And I went to one of the top salesperson in the state of Florida.
Wow.
And then I grew a team. Right.
Yeah.
Then I had a team of 7. Then I went to a team of over 100 people.
Wow.
And so in that business, you're like a quasi entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're still sort of under the corporate stuff.
Yeah.
And that started to piss me off after a while. when I had corporate people coming into the office and saying our team was crushing it. We're number one in a bunch of things company wide.
Yeah.
And I had people that had never cold called in their life trying to tell me I needed to change things. And I'm like, we don't need to what do you mean?
Yeah.
We're killing it.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to invest in real estate.
Yeah.
And I started looking at multifamily in about 2015. But I couldn't even think with raising money at that point. It just wasn't real to me asking someone for money. It just wasn't real. So I never even did anything, but I looked at deals, learned how to underwrite deals and sort of figured it out. And I always watched I don't know if you remember, Grant used to do the real estate show in the morning on Mondays.
Yeah.
I learned so much from that. I learned how to underwrite, learn the numbers of real estate.
Yeah.
And, in 2020, when COVID happened, our business just kind of no one wanted to buy insurance. They were concerned about, other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I got to get the real estate thing going.
And I bet that the dynamic of selling door to door really probably changed because people just weren't in the office.
Yeah.
Like they're literally not at their phones
Right.
starting in 2020. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. And, I got mad and I'm like, I got to get this real estate thing going. And so I was looking for apartments and I quickly realized, I'm like, man, these things are like, I'm not going to buy one house. I'm not going to buy a duplex. Like I wanted scale. And I had a friend who was buying trailer parks, mobile home parks.
Love that.
And he was like, hey.
I love that you say trailer parks and you don't just try to dress it up. It's like mobile home living communities.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like trailer parks.
People
Boom.
online, they're like, yes, I'm a manufactured housing community. I'm like, come on, guys.
Dude, one of the biggest things that I just rail on in my videos is how, so I'm a contractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at how things are built. Manufactured homes are obviously not built in the same way that a normal, even a framed house is. They're not built to the same specs, et cetera, whatever.
Yeah.
They're shipped to on-site, blah, blah, blah. I'm always saying like, look, they're fine. But personally, I would prefer a normal house. Dude, I get killed in the comments of like, manufactured homes are the future, modular homes, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, fine. So people love manufactured and modular homes, just so you know.
Yeah.
People love them. The internet loves them.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, so some of our parks in St. Pete, like some of the homes in there are 1950s, 1960s. And like people have done some work to them over time, but these things are like much more durable.
They're standing up
than you would think. Like how many hurricanes has that thing been through?
Oh, wow. Yeah. 10 or 20.
I mean, a lot.
Wow.
And they're still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what my biggest surprise was in getting into the business is how resilient the homes actually are.
That's right.
And you just don't think that like, oh, it's a mobile home. It's going to fall apart, but not necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I interrupted you. You were on a roll and I rudely interrupted.
Cool.
I interrupt all the time, just so you know. But so you were going into your first. So what was your first deal? I think you were about to tell me your first deal.
Yeah. So the first deal, what I did in the beginning, I was like, all right, I got to get this going. So one thing that I've always been really good at is like acquisitions, cold calling, like reaching out to people. So I found a list of all the mobile home parks in Florida. And so between any meeting and anything like that, I would just start cold calling, right? Cold calling property owners.
Wow.
And ended up getting some traction. And I had met a guy who
was the initial thing like, hey, I want to buy your trailer park.
Yeah, until I figured out what to say.
Really?
Like, hey, do you want to sell? Sure. No. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Like,
did people say like, yeah, I do?
Yeah. Like wow. I found a park and you know where Belglade is? It's like,
no,
it's like by Lake Okeechobee.
Oh, okay.
It's like not that great of an area.
That's not a good area.
It's not a good area. And so I drove down there one weekend to talk to this lady who owned a trailer park down there. And it was like really weird. The lady was sketchy. And like she took me inside of the trailer, was showing me her financials, which were handwritten. She's smoking a cigarette. The paper smelled like cigarettes. Like it was nasty.
Yeah.
But and then I rode in her car with her to the other park that she had.
Oh, good.
I was committed, So like, I wanted to learn the business and like whatever I needed to do, I was going to do it. But I did that. I was looking at a deal here over in Largo, went and met with the guy. And like, so I was driving around like when I wasn't, because that was during 2020, our business went remote, the insurance business. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this and start driving.
Yeah.
And I literally drove probably every single trailer park between Ocala, like down here to Clearwater, Largo, over to Brevard County, just so I could get a feel for the asset, learn the business. Like, like what's the difference between, like some of the communities around here, the ones that are like really, really nice, and then the ones that aren't, right? Yeah. And just understanding the difference of them and getting like a feel for the business. And that's how I like learned it. And in that time, I was just underwriting and doing calculator math on deals. But back to your question, I got off track too.
It's all good.
So
maybe we can do the weave.
Yeah. Yeah. I met a guy who had some experience investing in mobile home parks. Turns out he lived pretty close to me.
Yeah.
So I went and met with him one day. I'm like,
did he live in a mobile home park?
No, he didn't.
Okay, good.
No, he didn't. I would have been like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the mentor that I'm looking for. So I told him what I want to do. I was like, I want to buy trailer parks. And he was like, oh, you know, you don't want, I'm like, nope, I'm going to buy trailer parks because I learned the asset class and I figured it like, we can talk about the fundamentals of it and why I love it.
Yeah.
But so I started talking back and forth to him, and long story short, he calls me one day and he's like, hey, Derek, I have this property under contract. My operating partner backed out last minute. Wow. Do you want in? We're closing in 7 days.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'll call you back. So I was like, what am I doing? Call him back and be like, yes. So I called him back. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. We'll figure it out. And so, I got into that deal. I wanted to learn the business. So I was the property manager for the first deal. I went and knocked on the doors, talked to the tenants, did all the work. And for equity.
Did you start going around strapped, or when did you start carrying a gun? At what point did you start carrying a gun? This isn't secret. You make videos about this all the time.
Videos
You're
about
always
this.
strapped in your mobile home
Absolutely.
parks. Yeah, have to be.
Actually, I didn't. That wasn't until like a year. It wasn't for like a year. Yeah, it wasn't for like a year because we bought a park. We bought a park that was
so funny.
Yeah, we bought a park that was, you know. And the thing about it is, Brad, I never really felt like unsafe until we bought this one park.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, this one is a little worse than we had thought.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, you know what? I just need that. You know, what's the big deal? You know, I can carry. I'm not carrying today, by the way.
Oh, damn, I'm disappointed. I wish somebody was.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. So didn't start carrying a gun for a year into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started in 2020.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to 2024.
Yeah.
So now you have Victory Capital. So now you got your own deal where you actually fundraise. So you is it correct to say you syndicate? Is that the right word? Okay, good. Yeah. So you syndicate. You pull money together. You're obviously the lead investor, and you're like, hey, here's what I'm doing. You want to get in on the deal? Boom. Here's how you can get in on it, and then share the returns with the investors, and it allows you to touch and control more assets.
Yeah.
Well, that's the idea, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever you want to share, how big has it gone from that first, the trailer park where you were the property manager for equity? How far have you taken it?
Yeah, so we've got over 40 properties now and over 2,000 units. And Amazing. We really just, in 2021, we went on a tear because I did all this calling and like, hey, all this acquisition stuff that we just kept finding deals. And it was really a timing thing too, to where the market was in, interest rates were really low. Mm-hmm. We found a wrinkle in the market where, just like a business, like if someone came and offered you like a massive number for your business and you're like, okay, I can't turn this down.
Sure.
Like it's a crazy number.
Yeah.
So the seller's crazy number.
If anybody wants to buy Home Love Construction for $100 million, I'm willing to entertain the offer.
Okay.
Just for the record.
So just think like if the seller's number is this and our number where we know we're getting a good deal is their number where they're like, I'll definitely sell for that. So we were just throwing offers out and people are like, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. So our numbers where they're like FU price that was like,
wow.
So there was just like a perfect timing in the market where we hit that.
Yeah. And that wrinkle has since gone away.
To a degree. There's still some of those kind of deals out there, which we're able to find. They're just a little harder to find because when interest rates, when we could go into a bank and get 4%, a good example would be if you looked at 100 deals in 2021, you could figure out how to make sense of maybe 80 of them, maybe 100 of them.
Wow.
Right? Maybe almost all of them. Like I look back now at the deals that we passed on, I'm like, of course, should have just bought them all.
Yeah.
But now, like we look at 100 deals and you may get 2.
Wow.
3.
Oh, wow.
Because interest rates have doubled.
Yeah.
And the sellers' prices are more. So it really, there's a gap there.
Got it. So earlier you mentioned like what you love about, the like owning trailer parks, operating them. You're like the fundamentals that make you love it. What does that look like?
Yeah, look, the fundamentals of this asset class are the best because you have a low supply of them. You can't build a trailer park. Like, it is very difficult to do so. In the middle of nowhere in Texas, yeah, you can build one and bring in new homes. But like when you build...
but like in densely populated areas.
Like go try and get the zoning to build one in Clearwater or Tampa. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to be like, you can't do that. Right? So... I never thought about that. They're actually demolishing more of them every year for because it's not highest and best use in many cases. And there's an increasing demand for affordable housing because if you look at all the stuff that they're building in Tampa, Orlando, Central Florida, it's this Class A $2,500 a month stuff. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You know, we're $800 a month. It's the cheapest place in town. Wow. Right? So you have this natural the supply and demand factors are naturally on your side, which I love.
In most of your deals, I know it probably changes, you know, from property to property. But do you own the buildings in most of your properties and like rent the building? No, you just own the lot.
Correct.
And you have lot rent.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. That's the other thing why I like this business because someone like we have tenants in the parks that have been there much longer than we've owned it. Yeah. Like 15 years. They've got multiple family members in the park. So it's you know, I love that because it's not like apartments where we're going to have lease up on a monthly basis. It's like, hey, if a house does become available, because what I just talked about, the demand is so high, we can get someone in it like that. And when that person gets in, it's their house. They're going to, in theory, not everybody does. Yeah, they're going to take care of it more and have more pride of ownership. Sure. And because they can't rent for $900 anywhere else, they're going to do what they can to keep that.
Wait, so how does that work? They rent the lot, but they own the mobile home? Yeah. Okay, correct. So if it turns over, they pay the owner like whatever, 20, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, whatever the price is. Yeah. And then they're... Oh, so it's almost like an HOA fee. The lot rent is kind of like similar to an HOA fee.
Sort of.
Ish.
Yeah, ish.
As in it's something that it's like, then you pick up that monthly expense along with whatever like your small mortgage payment is or whatever.
Whatever.
Do most of these things have mortgages on them?
No.
So they trade cash.
Yeah, I mean, so the parks, we're buying like family parks because when you buy like a 55 and over park, so let's just say you're in a family mobile home park, your demand for that is this. But once you go in the 55 and over community, your customer is like, it's a different, like, so I don't like that business model. Yeah. I like the family parks because you have population migration to Florida and the Southeast. Yeah. That is.
Oh, dude, it's huge.
It's massive. Yeah. It's huge.
And you have constrained land mass. Yeah. Like you got ocean on both sides of it on Pinellas County. Right. So it's like, you're not going out.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. So I forget what we were getting at on there. We got off.
So like the fundamentals of the business.
Oh yeah, the fundamentals. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so one, it's really you own the dirt.
Exactly.
Which is like, I mean, you can't. How do you screw up dirt? You can't. Like no matter
you have
what
the infrastructure. The infrastructure can be a pain sometimes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Yeah, so actually I've seen that in a lot of your, I see a lot of your stories. Yeah. And a lot of the times do most parks have kind of like their own wastewater facility attached to them? Or is that some do?
So some do.
And what is that?
So it's basically, so, you know, like the city would have like where the sewage goes and it gets treated and whatever. Yeah. You basically have like, it's like a microcosm of that.
Really?
In your park, right? Not all of them have that. It's called a wastewater treatment plant.
Why would a park have that?
So maybe when it was built, the city hadn't ran the lines out there yet.
Oh, wow.
There was no, force main or anything out there yet, right? So maybe that's the case. Or in some of the cases, the mom and pop owners, when the city comes out there, they're like, we're not paying you. I'm keeping my septic tanks or I'm keeping my treatment plant. Because to them, it's free. Yeah. Right. But the maintenance of it, like they don't think about, but it can be a pain. Yeah. But you can have parks that have city utilities, just like, any other apartment complex or anything would had. But in Florida, you'll find a lot of parks still have septic. Yeah. Not a lot of the wastewater treatment facilities. And then they'll have well systems too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So is there an opportunity for you to then connect those to city? Like, is it a thing for you to connect those to the city utilities? And you're like, boom, then my infrastructure problems are basically much, much less.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, it would be much less, and the property would go up in value a little bit because a potential buyer for that, city water and city sewer is the best because it's easier to deal with.
Yeah, totally.
But it's just like a cost analysis kind of thing. Is it worth it?
What is it going to cost to actually do the work to connect
what it's going to cost to do the work to connect it, you know, the brain damage, because we did this at one park, and the worst part about it is not the work, right? It's the brain damage of dealing with the city, getting the permitting and dealing with the health department, and like that's where the brain damage is. It's like, ooh. Yeah. And it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
You know, a project like the labor and the work on that project maybe takes, I don't know, 60 days.
Yeah.
Maybe 90 days.
Yeah.
But the whole project will take a year.
Yeah.
Because it's got to go through permitting. And when Susie decides one day to sign the paper that's been sitting on her desk for 90 days, then I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been running into, because we have, so we have a lot of flood rebuilds that we're doing right now. And for some reason, all the homeowners were told in no uncertain terms, you can get a permit the same day you walk in. If we take now more than a day to get a permit, they're like, no, I saw on the news, you can get a permit in one day. It's like, that's the new standard. And I'm like, guys, that's not real. Like, it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not, it literally doesn't exist. So we're just getting like our faces beat in by our clients over how long permitting is taking. And it's actually going faster than it ever has by our standards. Yeah. But anyhow, permitting is not fun. You know what we do? You'll love this. This is a fun tidbit. Whenever we're dealing with permitting offices, so we try to, for one, we keep the contact to just one person. Like, there's one person in our company who handles permitting. Nobody else jumps that line. Like, it's just that person is the only person that talks to the government. You know? In addition to that, that person records all of their phone calls with the government agents. They tell them, they're like, hey, blah, blah, blah from Home Love Construction. I'm calling on a recorded line, blah, 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 right? And then they store those recordings, because you get crazy things like Susie, who's had the thing on her desk for, 45 days. You bring that to her attention and she's like, oh yeah, I'll get it done today. Well, now we have a recording of that. And so it's like, hey, Susie said she would do it. We literally just apply like our own like ethics standards to the world out there, especially like the government. We're like, hey, then literally we'll write a report the next day. Hey, Susie said she would have it done. Mr. Building Official, she didn't do it. She said she'd have it done today. It's not done.
Yeah.
That's that. Whenever we find like an unkept promise or like a incorrectly handled cycle with the permitting offices, we report it to the building official and the inspector general. This is a huge life hack for contractors, by the way. We report it and it immediately goes away.
Yeah.
Immediately. Now, there's sometimes where it's like, hey, we still can't necessarily do the thing we wanted to do. Because like, for example, we had a bathroom get approved that actually shouldn't have been able to have been built. But now the county foots the bill for us and the homeowner to put it back to the way it was supposed to be. So we're not like just sitting here with that cost now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they acknowledged they made the mistake. So anyways, yes.
Well, that's huge, because you can't even get some of these, like, when we're in due diligence on a property, we'll try to get, like, we were trying to buy an RV park and we were trying to figure out the zoning. And the lady wouldn't even answer my questions directly in an email, because it's like she didn't want to be on the record saying, this, that, and the other thing. And so like that's huge, because it's, you have to do that with these municipalities and stuff, or there's just like, it's a nightmare.
Totally, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. So we've talked about the business side of it. I want to know about the trailer park side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you get asked all the time, like, what's the craziest story? What's the story that you enjoy telling the most? That's like the trailer park story.
Well,
you know what I mean when I say trailer park story.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. I mean, just some of the stuff that you'll see, especially like we have some parks on Nebraska Avenue in Tampa.
Oh, nice.
So
dude. Really?
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I owned a house on Nebraska Avenue at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. So you know what you're dealing with
Yeah.
over there. I mean, so we drove in.
I didn't live there, for the record. It's like, anyways.
Yeah. So we have a property over there, and we were over in Tampa one morning. We're driving through the park, and my business partner taps me on the shoulder and points. I'm driving, and there's this lady. She's probably in her late 60s. She walked out of her trailer, butt naked, got something out of her car, and then just walked back into the trailer. We're like, what? Like, what just happened here? Like,
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah. We had so we have this like central messaging thing. So all the comm from the tenants in the parks goes to like this one person.
Oh, okay, good.
Right.
Makes sense.
And
from all of your parks?
Correct.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we'll see the messages that come through.
Yeah.
And like, and some of the questions you see come through there are just comical and by any means, but we had a guy who we thought it was a joke. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of serious, but like, hey, you know, this guy got arrested last night because he tried to set his brother's truck on fire.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what?
It's
crazy. Like just another day in the trailer park. You have chickens and things that are running around there. It's fun. We did have a guy. So this guy, we came into this. It was it was actually the second property that we bought.
Oh, wow.
And this guy hadn't paid rent, and this is to the prior owner for like 18 months.
Wow.
So he wasn't, this was during like a COVID-ish time, but this was before COVID. He stopped paying rent.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, we go in like, hey, man, it's not fair to all the other tenants.
Yeah.
And not to mention his yard has, you know, anywhere from 40 to 90 beer cans in it every Monday morning. Out in the yard, not even in the trash. And wild. We're like, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically started like breaking into people's homes. He took his Jeep. He took it. He started stealing air conditioners out of the homes. People
just let him do this?
I guess. I don't know. But he would take his Jeep.
Yeah.
And he would do donuts.
It sounds like you actually need to arm the people in the trailer parks.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. But this guy would take his Jeep and do donuts in like the grassy part of the thing. Like there was a front grassy part of the park that was actually looked pretty nice, and then in the back, and he would do donuts into that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was a guy. I had another instance on the first park that we bought.
Yeah.
This is a whole story, this park. So we go in and I'm going around to the units, right? And just like, hey, does your name match the rent roll here? Is this you? Like, you need to do kind of some to make sure everything's correct and what they're paying.
Yeah.
So we knock on this one place and they're like, you know, I'm like, your name's different. So this guy that lived around in the neighborhood was basically renting one of our trailers to someone else.
Okay.
Okay. Are you following me?
No. You own the trailers in this park? You own a couple of them?
Yeah. So in this park, when we bought it, we owned the trailers and we would go in and sell them.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Oh, I got it.
He basically.
You own the trailer and he rented it
rented it.
Yeah.
So like
he rented it to somebody else.
He was doing this to the old owner. So the old owner wasn't getting rent.
Yeah.
Right.
But people were living in the
living in the thing, paying the other guy rent.
Dude, I had that happen to me in a house that I owned. A lady literally there's a house that we were flipping where mid-renovation, a lady shows up and says, hey, I have a lease and it has your name on it, my name.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, how the fuck is my name on it? My name's not even on the property record for this. Nobody knows that I own this unless they literally like look at the name of the business that own, like they'd have to like do a little bit of digging.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm like, I need to get this lady the fuck out of here. Because if push comes to shove, she has a lease, she's going to be allowed to stay until it gets sorted out. Because that's how, anyways, that's my understanding of how, anyways. So I was like, okay, let me, like, what do you need? I literally like bribed her with like a cup of coffee, cigarettes, and a meal. So I'm like, where can I drop
That's
you
all
off?
you need.
Yeah, I literally was like, hey, I'll drop you off. What do you need? You want some cigarettes? Like, you want a meal? So I literally brought her to like 7-Eleven, got her the cigarettes she wanted, got her like whatever drink and like a coffee and like got her something to eat. And then she's like, yeah, I'll drop you off at my sister's house. It's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, all right. You know, good luck. See ya.
Oh my God.
Change the locks immediately. Like,
yeah.
That was such a show. Okay, so anyway, so this guy was going around renting, basically doing that, like pretending to be the landlord and renting the trailers to other people.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he was collecting the money from it.
Yeah.
So we put a stop to this and he didn't like it.
Of course.
And of course, right?
Yeah.
So he had worked at this, little shitty towing company.
Yeah.
Like that screws people over across the street. One of those towing companies.
Yeah.
And I got a call one night. We had put like this new nice sign up and put landscaping around the sign. It looked really nice. He had taken a tow truck and ran over my sign. I was pissed. I'm like, this mother. And so we put the sign back up.
Yeah.
He does it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just like this big back and forth thing.
Yeah.
So he tried to claim that he owned this trailer that he was renting out. And I'm like, okay, then why aren't you paying us rent? Because if it's yours, then you should be paying rent here. So it was a whole fiasco, right?
Yeah.
So then I had like my maintenance guys in the park. I was like, when this fucker leaves, go board up every window in that house.
Yeah.
Put nails in the doors so he cannot get in.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm there one day. And I'm like, he just left, guys. Go do it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't armed at this point either, by the way.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
He is now, just in case anybody's wondering, not like in the studio.
Don't mess with me in the trailer park.
If you see him in the trailer park, he's strapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short barrel in the truck. So they go and do that. Then he comes back and is like, WTF.
Yeah.
So him and like these 3 other, hood looking guys come back and they start walking towards me in my car. And I'm like, okay, oh shit. I'm getting in the car and getting out of here.
Yeah.
Right. So I just left. Right.
Yeah.
Wasn't armed at the time. And then I'm like, all right, we have got to put a stop to this because the guy, he like broke in again.
Wow.
And started like, he was having, crackheads over the house, prostitutes, like you name it.
Yeah.
And so I finally found a guy. I was like, take this unit out of my park. So literally the guy came and ripped the thing, the
whole building,
it was a small, like, it was a small unit, probably like, it was like a park model size. If it's sort of like an RV.
Yeah.
But I was like, pull this shit out of here. Get it out of here.
Just take it down to the dirt.
Just freaking take it. I don't care what you do with it. Go saw. I was gonna get a chainsaw and go saw the thing in half. Like this guy made me so mad. And so they took the unit out.
Yeah.
And the guy, he never came back again after that.
That's called scorched earth. It works.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, you know that?
Yeah.
Scorched earth.
Yeah. So this guy too, this is what kind of person this guy was.
Yeah.
So he was like being all, oh, Derek, I'm going to help you with the park. Like, I'm so great. I'm going to help you. Like that kind of guy.
The guy that was doing that?
Yeah. The guy that was doing that.
So he's covertly hostile.
Yeah, for sure.
Love those.
So I get a call on, I think it was like maybe Thanksgiving, the day before.
By the way, I need to interrupt with advice for a second. I'm sure you'll agree with this. The people who say that they're going to help you, and then you can clearly see are actually not doing things to hurt you, get those people away from you as quickly as possible. Do not fuck around with those people.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck with them.
100%.
Yeah. And don't think
they'll pull you down.
Don't think they don't know what they're doing either. Right? Because
they're
like, he didn't realize he was hurting me. He meant it. No. They know exactly what they're doing. Don't fuck with them. Get them the fuck away.
Yeah.
Right? Like right away.
Absolutely. And this guy, I get a call. It's literally like the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like if you own parks or manage properties, the worst stuff always happens like at the worst times.
For our plumbing company, we love the days after Thanksgiving. It's always so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy gives me a call and he says, hey, Derek, 3 homeless guys broke into one of your vacant trailers and are living in there. And I was like, nope. So I called the cops. I said, hey, there's people that broke into one of our trailers. You need to get over there now. So I basically drive over there. It was about an hour from, this is in Cocoa, Florida, Cocoa, Brevard County. Yeah. And oh my God. So I just thought the cops were going to come.
Yeah.
But the cops bring there's 8 cop cars. They've got these people dressed in SWAT. They have the shields, and the one home is right here, and there's some space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had the cars, and the cops were lined up here. They were lined up over here, and they were waiting. They were scoping out the house.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And so then they charged up to the house. And by this time, the whole neighborhood is out, looking, watching.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, what's going to happen? It was a big, anticipation.
Yeah.
And, they go in, they get the people out, and they come to find out that the other guy told them it was his and they could rent from him.
Wow.
So he got them to pay him rent. And then he called me and said that they broke in.
Wow. Wow. And got, I presume, arrested.
The other guys did.
The other guys got arrested.
Not him.
Yeah, not him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing that you can look for around these types of people you don't want to be around is not them, but the people around them are always getting in trouble, always getting sick, always getting hurt. It's never it's not the really, really, really bad person who gets ill or sick or jailed until in the very end.
Yeah.
They wind up getting theirs. Usually they die, is what I've known. Literally, they just find a way to die.
They just, they go.
That guy's probably dead by now.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They just find somewhere they just fall off something or something weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They choke on a weird thing. I'm being serious. I've always noticed this. It's really bad people, they just find a way to die.
Yeah.
But the people around them are always they're getting screwed over. And the person is doing this to their friends.
Right.
They can't help it. That's how they think they get ahead in life.
Yeah.
This guy thought his way to get ahead in life is have his buddies help them to get a place to live, take their rent, and then get them arrested by the SWAT team.
Yeah.
That's his concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So I did want to ask, so obviously you raise money from people.
Yeah.
What does that look like? And because some people, I would assume a large percentage of people that watch this are probably interested at this point, and they're so talk a little bit about the asset itself and what it looks like to actually invest with Victory Capital in trailer parks.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you, it really starts with really why we do that, because, it's obviously what you said in the beginning, it helps us, scale and buy more properties faster.
Yeah.
But it also helps people that you own a business, you have a construction business, you have something, and you're building that. That's what you're good at. You don't want to take tenant calls and deal with the BS and deal with people running over your sign and the SWAT team, charging a trailer, right?
Yeah.
But you do see the value in investing in real estate. You see the value of growing wealth, because you make a lot of money in your business. It's hey, let's put it somewhere, right? And so that's the type of people that invest with us, right? And it gives them the opportunity to own an asset. They're a partner with us. They're an equity partner. They're not just if we refinance a deal, they're not out. They're always in the deal. They're a partner, awesome. But they're a passive partner because
by the way, the refinance is where you make your money, just for the record.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Your tax-free money.
Oh yeah.
Right. And
when I learned what that was, I'm oh my God, this is the sickest thing ever.
Yeah. It's almost when you first learn it, it's is that, can you do that?
Is that legal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't pay taxes either?
Yeah.
It's legal.
No taxes?
That's why Trump owns all the things that he owns. And he's just a very public example, but any big real estate person, any big real estate entity, they continue to own the real estate because until you sell it, you basically can own it tax-free kind of forever if you can just continue to hold it.
Yeah.
Right? That's right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the conclusion I've come to.
Yeah, you can just keep you buy the property for $5 million, you make it worth 10.
Yeah.
You go get another loan for 8 or 7, and then you pay off the 5.
Yeah.
Then you have $3 million to distribute to you and your investors.
Tax-free.
Tax-free.
That's not a taxable event.
That's not a taxable event. Then you go and make it worth 15.
Yeah.
And the next
you do it again.
And you do it again.
Yeah.
And then 20, and then you just keep doing it again, right?
Yeah.
And so you can, I had a 1031 exchange guy. It's basically if you sell a property, you can put it in this exchange and buy another property and you don't have to pay the capital gain on it. But he was like, his theory is defer, die.
Trust step-up basis.
Yeah. So maybe,
do you know that step-up basis?
Yeah. So maybe, maybe I'll sell stuff one day, but like, right now we'll just keep going. But that's the other benefit for, people. And what I love is that because the tax benefits that you get from real estate, you can protect your wealth because we all know that the government is trying to just, shaft us at every, chance they can get on our taxes, right? So real estate helps people like mitigate that.
Yeah, that's right.
Like we help our investors, just save on taxes, too. And how it works is that people invest with us and we go in and do all the dirty work with the property. You just get to wait and you can tell people that you own real estate now. But I have Derek, he's a freaking expert doing it. And, you get a quarterly dividend. Yeah. Right. And then, depending on how well the property does, we may refinance in the first couple of years. But typically we do like 5 years. But a lot of the deals that we're buying, I know that we can get the business plan done in a year or two. Yeah. But, we, in this particular business, you like to under promise and then kind of over deliver because you don't want to, I see people telling, online, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get you guys, a crazy multiple on your money. And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't be doing that. I tell people that like, hey, you're going to get a 2 or 2.5x on your money in 5 years. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. But I actually think and know that we can probably do that in 2. Yeah. So it gives us some room for error because we may have an issue, right? Right. We may have a crazy, who knows, right? so it gives us
a tow truck situation.
We may have a tow truck situation or whatever, right? So we like to have a margin of safety there to give so we can deliver.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And so what as far as like the future, what's like your plans for the business and for Victory Capital? And like how far do you want to take it?
Yeah. So we want to get to our next stop is 10,000 lots. Wow. So we have to that's another 8,000 from where we are today. Yeah. So look, it's going to take work to get there. Right. Yeah. But that'll put us into the top. I think that would put us in the top 10 of mobile home park owners.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
what's number one? Like how many lots?
150,000.
150,000.
Yeah, that's Sam Zell. Sam Zell's company.
Why do I know that name?
He passed away like a few months ago. He's like a big real estate guy, but his company owns 150,000.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And so I thought I heard you mention earlier RV parks. Is that another thing that you're adding into the portfolio as far as like something you're looking at now?
So we've looked at them. Some of them, yes. Like some of the RV parks in Florida, they're long-term. Like people live there, right? They're not like this vacation transient types of things. Like that's a different business model. It's more of an operations business. And that's not really why.
Campsite is more.
It's a campsite. Like that's not why I got into this business. I got it for like, hey, people are going to live here and stay here for an extended period of time.
My grandparents actually had an RV that they 6 months out of the year would have parked, and they just paid for the lot all year at a place called the Bees in Kissimmee. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure maybe you'll own it one day.
Maybe. I love that market.
Like that. It's all long term. They all rent the lots year round.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that because then you have that consistent income. I don't like hey, in June and July we make all of our revenue for the year, and then the rest of the year it's like not good. Of course, that's different in Florida, but I just don't like it's just not our business model.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so do you think in the future, like, because we were talking earlier about highest and best use, there's like definitely like a bit of a compulsion for people to, like rebuild, develop, et cetera, especially in Tampa Bay lately. Yeah. Do you see a future eventuality where your parks start actually, like you get bought out at ridiculous numbers by people who are looking to then redevelop into something else? Is that something you think is in the future, or you think that you'll have driven up the value so much by then that they won't be able to afford it?
So, I mean, look, I think yes and no. Yeah. Like on the yes end of it, it's a possibility. For sure, because even on Nebraska Avenue, if you get the closer you get to downtown, there's apartments that are $3,500 on Nebraska Avenue.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if you know where I'm talking about, but as you go down,
yeah. I lived in downtown Tampa for like 4 years.
Yeah, so it's coming back.
Yep.
Right, and then you get to our properties. So the parks that are still mom and pop owned, and they're still collecting. They're getting $400 lot rent, $300 lot rent. Yeah, those are going to go. But we've actually went in and increased the value of them. So we're at market lot rent now. So, and with the increasing demand in the space is that the
increasing demand is going to drive lot rent up more, making the NOI higher. Which then it's going to become impossible for people to buy it for more than it would so that actually becomes the highest and best use at that point.
Correct.
If you can't buy it and redevelop it.
Yeah. Because like we just got a property we just closed on in September in Orlando. I got a call from, it wasn't, 3 or 4 weeks after we closed, from a guy that was making us, because we stole this property. We did. We already got an offer for land value that was higher than what we paid for the property. Wow. But I know that this property is going to be worth, double that in, another 6 months.
Yeah.
So at that point, I don't think the developer comes in and pays that much for it.
Yeah.
But as it sits now, but it is good to it did feel good to get that call, because I'm like, hey, if all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, totally.
We're still good.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
I do think there will be some of that. It depends on where it is. Like one of our parks in Tampa is right down the street from the Cadillac dealership and the Maserati dealership. It's like, a trailer park probably shouldn't be there anymore. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And but
hey, higher lot rents.
Yeah, and you can't, if you're a developer. You probably know this better than anybody. It's hard to build affordable apartments.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Like, how much is the permitting for that, and how much you can't, can you build something and charge $1,000 a month? Probably not.
No, you physically can't.
Yeah.
It's like not and make money. Like it has to be subsidized at that point, and then it gets all fucked up. Like anything that's subsidized, it always goes down the tube. You know what I mean? It basically becomes Section 8 housing at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not not affordable. When people say affordable housing, that's not what they're talking about.
Yeah, no. Because you're ducking bullets, and you need to. You definitely need to have my arsenal in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. So, okay, well, before we wrap, how do people where do people find you? How would they get in touch with you? Like if they're interested in talking to you about this?
Yeah, look, you can reach out to me on all the social media platforms. Derek Vickers 885. I believe I'm the same username on all social media platforms.
Nice.
So just shoot me a DM. Or you can email me at Derek at Victory Capital. Victory Capital is VICK, like my last name, TORY, capital.com. That's the best way to reach out. You can go to our website. It's www.victorycapital.com, and you can download the free ebook. It's the Guide to Investing in Mobile Home Parks. I'll give you a synopsis on really what to look for in investing. Whether you want to go buy your own or you want to look at investing with us, you can go download the ebook for free and take a look at that.
Yeah.
And it's got some great information in it, and just give you a foundation of knowledge in investing in mobile home parks.
Yeah, and it'll make them more comfortable with actually making a decision to invest in the future.
Yeah, totally.
So you also, I just realized this, you also help people go out and do this on their own as well, don't you?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that briefly.
Yeah. So we actually mentor people to go in, and we teach them how to go out and find their own deals. We teach them how to set up their operations and set up their systems and their structures for managing a park, so they don't have to go in and get crushed like I did figuring it out on my own.
Yeah.
Right. So we provide a roadmap for them to do it successfully.
Yeah.
And some of those people end up partnering with us too. So it's just, some people get in the program, they're like, yeah, this is too much. I'll just invest with you because I got a job and I'll just keep doing that.
Yeah.
But we have done that successfully. We've gotten many of our students that have came in. We had a student here just recently come in, and they had never done anything before. We had a park under contract within the first 6 weeks of the program and closed on their first deal.
Wow,
this guy had a 9 to 5 job, by the way.
Awesome.
So you can still do it if you're working or
that's
whatever.
inspiring. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good, dude. Well, bro, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this has been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks,
Buy trailer parks.
Buy trailer parks.